Howdy guys, Bookie Laura here. You may or may not know that recently I've been taking part in a buddy read with Oly Bliss from Book Draw. We recently discussed Dune by Frank Herbert at length over Skype. Part 1 of our conversation is over on his channel, so go check it out. And this video right here is part 2. Enjoy.
Are you now enjoying it because the world has been established a bit better?
Yeah, I am. Actually, there was a real point for me. Like I went through the world building phase of, oh god, I don't want to read this, and then I settled into, okay, it's all right. But when the attack came, that was the point for me that I felt myself go, oh god, this can't happen to these characters, and actually really empathising with them. And I realised at that point that I was completely invested in them. And I think there was a real point where I felt really, really sorry for Leto, that I just was like, you know, when he was so tired and it kept making references to the fact that he hadn't slept and he knew he was going to die, and I was like, oh, I felt really sorry for him. And
what do you think about that as well? Like knowing you're going to die and yet still playing that role? Like I'd be like,
yeah,
yes, and leave.
Yeah, well, I think it says a lot about his character, doesn't it? That he, even knowing all that, he was so concerned with almost the bigger picture that he could just almost sacrifice himself for his son and for the future of House Atreides, which is just mad, because I wouldn't be able to do that. That is not my personality at all.
No. Yeah.
I'm not selfless.
I don't think you're alone though on that
No.
No.
But I think that helps you to sort of put him on this pedestal, because he is. He's a great bloke, you know, and always would do the right thing, and there are not many people in the world that would. So I think it does help you to really see his character. It sort of exemplifies it.
And what do you think about the way in which he goes?
Oh,
the poison.
Yeah. Oh, I was so sad.
But I was like, you're almost kind of actively allowing it to happen.
Yeah, but then that was the whole thing, wasn't it? That he knew he was going to die. Yeah. But I was just gutted that his last moment was like, well, at least I'll kill you. Oh well, awkward.
Yeah.
Because it didn't work. Oh, I was gutted for him, because I kind of had in my head, you know, oh, he's going to die, but it's going to be this huge sort of sacrifice, this act of, I don't know what the word is, act of amazement, and then it didn't work, and it kind of like, I don't know, ruined his big exit, I suppose. Yeah,
totally. And because you feel like someone of that noble character and prestige almost deserves like some mighty exit.
Yeah.
And it's more of a
yeah. Like of all the ways to die, that's pretty grim.
Yeah.
to kill yourself and fail in your mission. Oh.
And what do you think about the Baron surviving?
I like the Baron. I think he's cool. I mean, in a sort of proper baddie kind of way. I think that if he had have died, it would have taken a lot away from me at that point, I think. Because he is sort of, at the moment, the big baddie. I know there's I think the Emperor above him, but there's not that much mention of him, really. And I love the fact that it just goes on and on about how big and fat he is all the time. I think that's hilarious. Like every 2 seconds, it's like he's really fat, by the way.
I know, like for me, that just feels a little cheap though again as well.
Yeah.
In terms of and because he is supposed to be a gay character as well. So it's just like, I don't know. It feels like a slight lowbrow. It's kind of like if the only extra thing he needs would be a scar, and then he's like all the kind of I suppose if you think, what was it like? Was it 60s?
Yeah, I was just thinking. I wonder when it was.
It's kind of all those typical tropes of what someone who is bad or wrong or whatever.
Yeah.
But because I hadn't actually even picked up really on his sexuality at all.
No.
It's only from doing research afterwards that I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense, but oh.
Yeah. Well, I hadn't. I heard it in one of the comic book girl videos. She made reference to it, and I was like, really? But then there were a couple of things, and they're quite sinister. He's, go and get me a man so I can abuse him in my bed. And it's not just like a, he's not just being gay, he's being a weird rapey gay. Which...
Weird rapey gay.
Well, he is.
Yeah. If you're going to be bad, be weird rapey about it. Like...
In levels of bad, that's about as bad as it gets.
Yeah. But he is like a good manipulative anti-hero to the Atreides style in terms of like use your kind of like he is Slytherin in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
He's cunning and he's sly, but he also does have a sense of that greater like long-term game. Don't just be in for the short term. You want to, like, if you're going to screw a bunch of people over and stay on top, you've got to think ahead.
Yeah. Almost a bit like Atreides, but in a bad way, because he was always thinking of the greater good and the future, and then the Baron is, but in a much more weird, sinister way.
Yeah, because I hadn't really like properly acknowledged how his nephew is like his direct descendant, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you've also actually got Paul, who is actually related to him.
Mm. Yeah.
And I was because that like completely did not like I didn't properly tap into that.
I want to say, and I could be wrong, I want to say that she's his daughter.
Yeah,
Jessica's the Baron's daughter.
His daughter, yeah. But I was like, oh, that's really even more messed up and dark.
That was a proper exciting moment though, when you're reading a book and it drops the kind of bombshell like, oh, and she's the Baron's daughter. It was well done. I liked it.
Because it's just through conversation, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not even like it's a central kind of big reveal. It's almost just it's within the dialogue between Leto and someone else, isn't it? I can't remember now. But yeah, I was like, ooh, oh.
Yeah. Ooh, it's very and I like that. It's really well handled. Although I do find the annoying all the characters saying really really annoying. What's that about?
Yeah. It's like, ooh, something's happening right now.
What did you make of what's his name? The doctor whose name I can't pronounce. Dr. Yui. Yui, she calls him.
Yui, yeah.
I'm taking her pronunciation as gospel. So.
The bit that I really enjoyed was how he went up against Jessica when she was kind of questioning him, and the only way he was able to deflect what she was saying was through telling the truth.
Yeah.
But also being evasive with the truth. Because I thought that's actually like a real skill. Even if you were to like write it out, a dialogue between them, how you actually are able to do that is kind of crazy. Like that, the amount of time it would have taken him.
Yeah. Telling the truth, but not telling the truth.
Yeah.
I don't really buy his motivation, though, if I'm honest.
Okay, why not?
Well, like, did he really think... Because it was... I can't remember. Was it his missus? They had.
His wife,
yeah, they had her. And he honestly believed that if he did captured Leto, that they would release her. Like, like, I've only known this Baron for 5 minutes... And I think I knew he wasn't going to. You know, I find that hard. But then I suppose it's just hope, isn't it?
Is it a risk you would be willing to take as well?
Yeah. This is because I'm...
Like if that was your son.
Yeah. Yeah, you wouldn't just be like, oh, okay, kill her. That's fine.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, because you might actually go, hey, so, like, my wife's locked up. Do you want to... help me out?
Yeah.
Otherwise, I might have to kill you. Or find a way to go.
Yeah.
Those are my options, guys.
there was just something about it that I just felt a bit cheap, like a bit not really believable. That I don't know whether maybe that's just me reflecting my own personality, that I'm just harsh. But
well, what would you do differently then?
I don't know, to be honest. Maybe I'm thinking of it too too much, and actually in reality I probably would do the same. On one, you know, he's got his wife that he loves, and then these other people that he appears to love, and he's like, yeah, I'll hand you over.
When he's like describing how he has this kind of almost grief and love for both Jessica and Leto, like when he actually has conversations with them, but then it's kind of overrun with, yeah, but my wife's gonna die.
Yeah.
But he still holds this kind of massive respect for them. But I suppose that also gives us a sense to their character, in terms of the strength of their character and how they are so like damn lovable.
They are. I think I come from it, possibly I'm thinking of it from a book point of view as opposed to a real life. Like in a book, it doesn't feel right, but actually when you look at it in terms of real life, what would a person really do, that probably is what they'd really do.
Like a stronger kind of plot development in terms of his motives, his what actually pushes him to kill off the almighty house of Atreides.
And then he didn't seem surprised at all when they were like, nope, we're going to kill you now. He was like, oh yeah, saw that coming. I thought, we all did.
Yeah, that is very true. The thing for me, on terms of going back to mystery stuff, they're drilling for water. It evaporates as soon as it comes up to the surface, and that for me feels, because I don't feel like, because it has been a while since I actually like read the first one in full, but I'm sure that's not fully like uncovered, like the whole relationship with water on the planet.
Yeah, I think from my poor memory, I think there have been a couple of references to it, to something not being right about the water.
Right. Like a sickness.
Yeah. And actually, there's something, I think it was mentioned in the second book that I'm reading at the moment, but it's some reference that, again, Paul thinks something doesn't quite add up about their sandworms as well. He makes reference to that. So there is definitely something odd afoot.
Well, the sandworm development, character development, is pretty good, I think.
Character development of sandworms?
Yeah. I think that comes up more in the third one, though.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds cool. They are one of the coolest parts, let's be honest. Big old worms.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that was like one of the things that I really wanted to understand properly when I was playing the game, is like, what are the worms?
Yeah.
Where do they come from? But you don't learn that much about them, I suppose.
No.
Well, does this feel like a natural place to kind of come to an end?
Sounds good, because since I just made reference to the second book, that will be a nice sort of segue into the next one.
Yeah.